In the meantime, please look at this. The Mike Lee meme posting. After the assassination of that Minnesota Democratic senator and his wife, an attempted assassination of another Democratic politician, and would-be assassination of a bunch of other people. Yeah, Senator Mike Lee essentially shitposted over it, like in a manner which indicates a very gleeful attitude towards the murder of his political opponents, which shouldn't be surprising. Mike Lee has always been like a little groiper shitposter kind of guy, and obviously Republicans want us dead. You know, they're not usually that straightforward with it. Even Mike Johnson, the other Mike, you know, condemned the shooting. Obviously won't talk about like what motivated the shooting. Yeah, no, the chick in the last fit is nuts. What are we talking about?
The other, whatever that other is to someone. And in this instance, it's a political division. And I think people need to check in with themselves when they hear someone is attacked in their house. If their first response is not feeling gutted and heartbroken without any identifiers, I don't need to know anything. If that was not your first response, you're part of the problem. And elected officials.
Dude, we're so like, can you imagine like Hitler crowing after the night of broken glass? And there are, you know, opposition politicians are like, I think it's disgusting. You should express sympathy as soon as you hear about violence. Like, the reason Mike Lee isn't being callous about the shooting because he's generally indifferent. It's because he wants you dead. Like, he likes it when shooters kill Democrats. It makes him happy. He likes it. Like, you're not addressing it's like the problem here is not the lack of decorum. It is kind of funny that he deleted the tweets, though. You know, that's kind of uncharacteristic of him. I guess he didn't want the smoke. He also believes he's untouchable. I mean, he is. We're talking about the Democrats here. There was a censure threat, if I recall correctly. Who the f cares? For one, it wouldn't go through, and for two, so okay, where's that image? Tina Smith talking to him over it. Joking about an assassin killing people is beyond the pale. Appalled by Mike Lee's social media post spreading misinformation about the assassination of state lawmaker Melissa Hortman, her husband, on Saturday. It's like Mike Lee isn't even the issue here. Mike Lee is just the one Republican who's enough of an unhinged shitposter to be open about it. All of the people who are lying and saying that the assassin is a Democrat or was like, this is somehow, you know, Mike Walz's fault or whatever. All of these people are knowingly lying because they like the killing and they like spreading a cover. They like the smoke. They started lying instantly. Literally, like the moment news dropped, they all went, oh, yeah, okay, time to do this. And they started manufacturing the narrative, you know, and they're still doing it, and they all know that they're lying when they do it. Like, at some point you have to cut through. It's not about their civility, and it's not about like the truthfulness of their statements. It's about like the fact that they want you dead. Twitter is still full of people, like the conservative account, still 40, 50, 60,000 like tweets talking about how he was a Democrat, you know. Photos of Smith confronting Lee went viral, perhaps because person-to-person accountability is rare in Washington. Libs. These are the images we're talking about, by the way. So that's what he needed, a stern talking to.
But your colleague in the Senate, Republican Mike Lee of Utah, in the aftermath of this attack, he posted two things. One, he said, quote, "This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way." And then in an apparent reference to the governor, Tim Walz, he wrote, "Nightmare on Walt Street." You were seen talking to Senator Lee on Capitol Hill earlier. What did you say to him?
I wanted Senator Lee, who, I mean, honestly, I don't have much, I don't know him well. We have not dealt with each other that much. I wanted him to know about the consequence of his words. And I went to him and I said, you know, your message on social media showed the image of the man who killed my friend, potentially minutes before that happened, and your message was, this is what happens. You need to take responsibility and accountability for what you are saying and doing out there in the social media world. And I wanted him to hear that from me directly, and not to like for me to tweet out at him. I think that is important, that he understands, again, the consequence of what the impact that his words have on people who are going through so much pain and trauma. This is not a joke. And he needs to understand over 7 million people dialed into his message on social media. He has a powerful platform. He should not be using it to spread misinformation and to I'm
sure he'll take all of this to heart. I'm sure he'll I'm sure he really learned from this experience.
Basically make a joke of the murder of people.
This is what I mean, by the way, when I say that it's not just the Democrats. It's not all like Schumer where they're bought and they know it. A lot of them are just ideologically, they have no idea what they're up against, you know? The Democrats do not in any way benefit from softballing on Mike Lee's behavior here, okay? The fact that she's responding this way, the fact that the Democrats are responding this way, it's evidence, you know? They're out of their league. It goes way beyond just the Democrats being bought. It's why I don't like the idea that Democrats are paid opposition, because it would imply that Democrats are in on the game. They are not in on the game. Maybe they're paid opposition on some specific issues, right, like Israel, but when it comes to the broader intentions of the Republican Party, they are so out of their depth. They have no idea what they're dealing with. How should the Democrats be responding? One of their own was assassinated, and a Republican senator was openly celebrating it. Powerful Republican operatives and pundits are spreading deliberate misinformation. They should be like a nonstop storm. How is it Republicans can manage to keep a 24/7 outrage news cycle going over literally nothing? You know, a 6-year-old boy and 6-year-old girl wrestle in a kindergarten, you know, class, and they you know, awash with interviews from concerned mothers about, you know, men and women's sports or whatever. Meanwhile, the Democrats, like literally their own are getting taken out by shooters. And they're like, well, we had a stern talking to with the people who were, you know, waving their foam fingers around afterwards.
Of public servants.
What did he have to say when you confronted him with that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think this is a person who's used to being confronted. I don't think he's somebody who's used to being challenged, and I think he didn't quite know what to do. I
also wouldn't, like, can you imagine, from his perspective, he's, in his mind, he's like, well, I sure did publicly indicate that I support those assassinations, and then a woman comes up to give him a stern talking to. I would be a little bewildered. I don't even think it's weakness on Mike Lee's part. I think in his head, he's probably thinking like, what are you kidding me? You don't get it? Even now, you don't get it? You don't get what's going on here? Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I'll delete the tweets. Okay, yeah, sure. Oh, no, I'm very sorry. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay, sure. You know,
approached him like from a position of respect and wanting him to understand what I thought. And he didn't have that much to say. What he needs to do is he needs to apologize. I really think that he should take that post down. To indicate that somehow this was some sort of a Marxist leftist attack that causes violence is completely false. He's spreading that misinformation, and he should correct that. I didn't get any of that from him earlier this evening, but I hope that what I said sunk in, and
fascism stop.
That he, as my mother used to say, words have consequences, and his words have a ton of consequence, and he should own that.
It's pretty striking to hear that you went up and you said, I know these people, your community has been so affected by this, and he didn't even apologize to you in that interaction?
He said, how many times have we heard the words that go something like, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, or I'm sorry if you didn't understand what that's not, in my mind, taking accountability or responsibility for your actions. And so I can't.
You really have to marvel at how insulated the Democrats have been for the past few decades, that they genuinely don't seem to understand even now that the game has changed. 1 second. Tina Smith, how long have you been, hold on. Politician, retired Democratic political consultant. Right. Moved to Minnesota in the 1980s to work for General Mills. Managed Walter Mondale's unsuccessful last-minute campaign in the 2002 U.S. Senate election in Minnesota. Chief of staff to Mayor of Minneapolis. Mark Dayton's successful campaign. Doesn't plan to run for re-election in 2026. Are you sure? Why not? Got another 20 years in you. There's no way this level of weakness isn't intentional? No. Believe it or not, it's not. They're just like this. You gotta understand, the level of consultant brain rot. The easiest evidence that you get of this is former consultants, because they're no longer incentivized to hold the same language, their brains actually work this way. I feel this level means they genuinely have no idea they're in danger. Yep. That podcast really stuck. That podcast was maybe the single most revealing piece of political media that's come out in the past year. The podcast of Kamala Harris staffers, the Pod Save America, genuinely, like, that one episode was maybe the most telling piece of media in recent memory that I can think of, at least that I can think of. Absolutely remarkable. Yeah, the CNN people can't even find a way to, like, bait, you know, find like a bait title or whatever. Sen Smith reveals what she told Sen Lee. Jesus Christ.